up, my friends? Welcome to My Chemical Fancast. I'm Haley.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast about all things My Chemical Romance. This week we are discussing the next section of Revenge, and we're starting off with a banger. It's called The Jet Set Life Is Gonna Kill You.
Yes. I feel like we have left all of, the singles behind.
Yeah.
So we're getting deep into the album.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. Also, I'm doing a podcasting no-no this week and drinking coffee while recording. First of all, coffee is a no-no because it gives you phlegm and nastiness in your throat and
phlegm.
Yeah, in your mouth. But you know what?
I mean, I drink cold fucking water whenever we record, which is not better.
That's not. I mean, it's better, but it's not the best.
As long as you don't slurp, I don't have to cut out a slurp. You know. Bitch. Also, I hope you guys listened to our interview with Cassie Witt last week.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. We love Cassie. Hopefully she comes back to us later.
Maybe she will. Maybe.
All right, should we just fucking talk about it, I guess?
Well, before we started, I wanted to say I hope everyone had a great Halloween. And we did nothing. We stayed in.
I gave candy to children.
You gave candy to children, which also counts as nothing. So
that's the whole point of Halloween.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's one thing you could do.
Oh my goodness.
But I stayed in and watched Halloween Town and talked to my mom. Anyway, this weekend we're going to be at North Carolina Comic-Con. You'll be hearing this after we have left North Carolina Comic-Con.
That's right.
So we may have had many adventures that you're not hearing about right now.
Adventures?
Yeah.
I don't know how many adventures we're going to have, but we are going to have a good fucking time. I
mean, I would call going to North Carolina and seeing Gerard 3 days in a row a fucking adventure. Because it's pretty exciting.
Guys, he's doing so many panels. And the panel I'm most excited for is he's doing one about making D&D characters, and then Tommy Lee Edwards at the same time, I guess, is going to be illustrating them or something.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about that.
I'm stoked.
That's the ideal panel. That and the bad fanfiction reading panel.
Yeah.
Very excited about those things. It's not Gerard's, just a different one.
That's just a different one. They will invite you up on stage to read fanfiction. The terrible fan fiction.
I'm so
Which
excited.
I'm on board for. I will get up and I will read some bad fan fiction, my dude.
Honestly, I might too. It's one of my favorite things to do in my spare time, so...
Yes!
Fuck it.
Do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. We're hopefully going to see some friends there. If you know Happy Humbug on Instagram, she and Vestilator, also on Instagram, are doing a zine thing, which sounds super cool. So hopefully we can track them down and find that. But we'll be there. Say hey.
All right, anyway, we're going to stop rambling. We're going to get into the episode.
Yes.
So we're starting off talking about Jet Set Life Is Gonna Kill You.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite songs. I think it's probably at least in my top 5.
Of all MCR songs?
Maybe top 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do like this song. This was definitely one of my favorite songs as a kid. I'd definitely put it in my top 10 also. I don't know about more than that, but it's definitely my top 10.
The organ intro.
Okay, the organ intro.
It's the first thing you hear. It's got to be the first thing we talk about because the transition from Ghost of You into Jet Set Life is one of the best things that they have done on this album.
That's true. I think it's also one of those things where I haven't listened... Well, again, I never owned the CD. But when I've been listening to it on Spotify, I feel like I don't get that transition as much.
Right.
So maybe it's better heard on a CD or a vinyl than on a streaming service.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll put in a clip of it if we're able right here.
But I love the organ. I really enjoy it here. It goes with their whole religious theme.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few extra instruments they include on Revenge, and it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very atmospheric.
Yeah, it's something that they kind of toy with. They're like just delving into it. Like, I don't really know what we're doing here, but we're gonna put something in.
It's like a proto rock opera.
A proto rock opera.
I only say that because Black Parade exists. Otherwise,
Right.
this would just be
Yeah.
the rock
Otherwise,
opera.
this would just be a rock opera. You know what I was thinking about is that Gerard has said that he doesn't really connect with musicals, but I don't understand that because he's put out essentially 2 musicals just with no acting. That's all a musical is a story set to music. And that's the same thing an opera is, but he's put out 2 rock operas, but he says he doesn't connect to musicals. I don't understand.
I think that musicals have this thing at the songs where they're very literal, and obviously, these are concept records, so there's a plot to them.
Yeah.
And there's plot in musicals too, but I think that they're very... Gerard obviously likes metaphor-heavy lyrics, and I feel like that's not present as much in musicals, because it's a lot more literal about the events that are occurring.
Yeah, it has to be a little more literal. It depends also on the musical you listen to, because there are a few that put in some metaphors in there, or you'll get recurring themes that aren't super obvious, or like character motifs or something like that.
Yeah, I also just think musicals are a whole different animal, again, because like they're telling a story, it's like a play as well as music.
Yeah.
And I think that, as much as Phantom of the Paradise is a kind of musical, it's also a very different sort of animal too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know he likes musicals, like he likes Cabaret.
Yeah.
Which is definitely a musical. And there's a couple other that he's mentioned that he likes. So I know he likes them at least in movie form, but I mean, like on stage, watching an actual play unfold. And I know it's different than a rock opera, but it's super, super similar.
I think it's just a matter of what you can do with visual art in that medium. Because I think that he's really attracted to things that are like Phantom of the Paradise. The way that they're produced is very multi-layered and visually interesting. And I know that there are plays and musicals that do that.
Mm-hmm.
But as a genre, it's not their main concern, I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm not letting it go. I'm not. I will ask him.
You bring that up.
I'll do that at the Q&A. Hey, Gerard, what the fuck?
Okay, now can we talk about the lyrics?
Yes, let's talk about the lyrics.
Okay, so the lyrics. This song's about drugs.
Correct. It's another song where he personifies his addiction as a woman.
Yeah, I think so. Like he did in Honey on Bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we might do like a women and MCR topic episode later. So we'll put this in the bank for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think she's a personification of addiction or darkness or Satan or death, but she's definitely something bad.
Yeah.
That's driving into addiction at the very least.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to mention the title, because the title itself is a super dead giveaway about, like, this is what the song's about, laid flat out on the table.
Yeah.
Because the jet set life being, like, a frequently traveling lifestyle in which you consume a lot of drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the deal, that was kind of his deal during at least the making of Revenge.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a band, they're touring a lot, they're kind of homeless, they don't really live anywhere, they're traveling all the time, and then their job while they're traveling is to be a high energy rock band. It's very stressful and very like unmoored and uprooted, so it's a hard way to live. I think this song is definitely about Gerard's struggles with living that way and substances. I think he uses it as in sort of a doubled way of being a personal song and then also working it into the concept of the record.
Mm-hmm. One story that I saw from my favorite book, if you don't already know what it is, then you haven't been listening to a word I've said.
Maybe this is their first episode.
But in this book, they tell kind of a little tidbit about when they were recording in Revenge, there was a day that Gerard came in and he couldn't sing. Like, nothing was happening, like he wasn't getting anything good. His voice was fucked up, and it was because he had done so much coke the night before.
Whoops.
And drank so much that he was like non-functioning the next day. And he sat down with Ray and he was like, hey, sorry. I have an issue. And Ray was like, yeah, no shit.
I like that people come to Ray like he's the parent.
Yeah. that's a role that I think he played a lot in the band, whether he wanted to or not. He was kind of the most stable one.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to like always be looking at these songs and being like, Gerard thought this, Gerard felt this, but I do think that this is sort of maybe a blatantly kind of personal song.
Yeah.
There's again a lot of mentions of drugs with lines like lost in the prescription.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some mentions probably of suicide or something like that, of feeling like you're on the edge and like could tip over.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like the concept and the storyline, I think that can work as well if we see this as like a point where the protagonist is struggling to keep going with the mission to kill 1,000 evil men. And I think that makes sense because this song I feel is sort of a turning point in the plot of that, and that the rest of the album is this isn't going well. like the top of the album was like, I love this girl, this dead girl.
Yeah. I think we've kind of determined that they're both dead.
We'll discuss.
Yeah.
But it's like, I love my girl. We were in a firefight. I'm going to Louisiana. I'm killing some bitches. I'm going to Mississippi. I'm killing some bitches. Evil bitches.
Yes.
And then I think you get to this song and it starts unraveling. And he starts getting more crazed and having conflicting feelings about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But definitely when, like, Gerard talks about how in his earlier albums he used a lot of metaphors, I think this is one of the songs.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is a good example of a metaphor-heavy song that he used to cover up his real feelings about things for art.
For art. For the art. I'm going to suffer for the art.
I also think that it's the most mournful sounding song on the record. Like, his voice in this just cuts me.
Yeah.
And the bridge was my favorite part of the song. And when I was a teenager, this was one of my favorite songs, and the bridge was my favorite part. And sometimes I would tear up a little bit or like get goosebumps or something. It's such a good part. It's so pretty.
Speaking of the bridge.
Oh my fucking God.
Now, okay, so the bridge itself, to me, it sounds like Howard was like, all right, we need some auto-tune here. This isn't going to fly. Because you can hear.
Is it the holding? Is like.
The whole bridge is at least has some effect on it where it steadies Gerard's voice.
Yeah.
And you can hear it. Like, it doesn't sound natural. And they may have wanted it that way.
I'm curious about the part where I'm thinking about it in my head right now. Where he goes holding on and the on is a high note. When holding on, hope you do the same, all sugar.
Yeah, it's super, I don't want to say flat because obviously in music flat means your undertone, but has like a flat quality to it. And I don't mean undertone, I mean like there's nothing going on. There's like just it sounds like someone pressed a button and a bell rang or something.
I think that is an effect because like my favorite part of the bridge is where he says, is like how his voice sounds on the word into, slip into this tragedy. Slip into the tragedy. And I do think that that's some sort of effect, but yeah. I really dig it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's bad. I love the bridge and I love the song, obviously. But I am saying that there is a lot of effect on especially that part. Yeah. And probably on the whole song, but I wasn't paying super attention to, listening for that affected quality. But it's super obvious on the bridge because it's more stripped down and there's less loudness going on. I had one more thing to say about the bridge, and then I'll leave it alone. When he does it live, he fakes over it a lot. He's like, wave your arms back and forth, and he's like, I'm just not going to fucking do this part. And I'm going to play it. One of the few times that he does it live is on the Venganza performance.
Yes.
And
in which he had an auto-tune mic.
Yeah.
But
leave him alone.
Listen, I get it. He was recording it.
But I'm going to play it. And I want you to listen, and we're going to put in a clip of this so you guys can experience with this. Listen to how he tries to hit the A, and I'm going to rant about it a little bit afterwards.
Oh my God.
Here we go. his face during it, he is so strained.
Yeah, it's
He is
like
so like his shoulders go up, and if you know about vocal anything, when the shoulders go up, you're tense. And
like Hillary
you,
Duff.
yeah, Hillary Duff. But his eyebrows are drawn together, his eyes are closed, the shoulders go up, everything is just so tense, and he's like, all right, here's the A, and he like, it's so soft.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what, Gerard, why? This is your money note. You should have no problem doing this. And I think it's because it's in head voice that he has an issue with it, because for some people, they either have to belt the shit out or they don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe for
That's me.
I think maybe for him, A is that kind of note where he has to yell it or it doesn't happen.
I think so, because I think that when I've heard him do notes like that, it has been on big moments in a song.
Yeah, and
this is a rare quiet moment.
Yeah, this is one of the few moments where he goes into head voice and kind of lets it chill a little bit. I would like to talk to him about his head voice.
Well, it's really developed over the years, because
Yes,
he
it has.
broke his voice in Parade, and so the only place left for him to go is head voice. So that's where he lives now.
Yeah, that's a different beast that we're gonna tackle later. But that was the thing I had to say about that, was that why is he struggling?
He's also breathless, running around.
No, he's still here. He has no excuse. Don't give him any slack.
I only have a couple things to say about the guitars. They're mostly just gushing things, and that I love them.
I'm ready.
I love the chugging guitars that you get at the end of the bridge. I think before he goes into Slip Into, because before it's quiet, and then like the guitars start coming in, and it's a great moment. There's also the intro guitars are so good. They do a lot of great guitar intros on this record specifically, because I feel like I say that in every song. I talk about the intro guitars, and it's no different here. There's like a phaser effect, I think, on the left guitar, and I'm pretty into that. I don't think they use phaser a lot until they get to Danger Days, and it's cool.
Yeah.
And the guitars are like a little bit heavier here and kind of bulletsy. And also you can hear Mikey's bass a lot in this song.
Yeah, Mikey coming through.
That's kind of all I've got on it.
That's all you have? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Do you have more?
Yes, of course I have more.
Okay. I have some more like lyrics things, but
I definitely have lyrics things.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so one of my favorite lyrics in this song is, it gives the weak flight, it gives the blind sight. And when you're just kind of passing by this, you're like, yeah, whatever. But, you know, when you think about it in the context of the song and about, it's talking about drugs and addiction and how they affect him, it kind of makes me feel like it's a lyric that alludes to drugs make him feel like he can do anything. Or I'll take out Gerard of the situation because I don't want to put that on him, but it makes the user feel as if they can do anything. It makes them feel invincible. It makes them feel like they can fly. It makes the blind see because they're fucking hallucinating or whatever.
That makes more sense because, like, bringing Gerard back into it.
Yes.
We know that he was doing, more specifically, Xanax and cocaine.
Yeah.
Most frequently. And so that, you know, is more along the cocaine route. And there is a line in here about she gives the last line or something.
Oh, she bought the last line.
She bought the last line.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be a cocaine reference?
Oh, for sure. And the line after this, until the cops come or the last light. So basically, that whole section is like, drugs can make you feel like you can do anything you want, and it gives you all these, like, kind of superpowers, at least until they wear off, or you go to jail for possession of illegal substances.
Or for murdering people indiscriminately because you're on a mission to save your dead lover.
Well, it's also, could be that, yep. That does happen sometimes. Also, can we talk about Hotel Bella Muerte?
What a great time. The only time Gerard ever does an accent. No, wait, no, sorry, that's not true. He does it in Parade, too.
Yes,
that German accent.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
One of the few times Gerard does an accent. It's lovely.
It kind of cracks me up because the line is so edgy.
Yes, it's very edgy.
It's like, Hotel of Beautiful Death. All right, chill out. Chill out. Like, I know you're talking about suicide and, like, it's supposed to be a little romantic, but you're being extra. But basically, he's just talking about how he's floating along in kind of a prescription induced haze, and he references his suicidal thoughts and, you know, would have used probably the pills to do so. Yeah, it's a lot. Oh, to go back to the very beginning, and this is super, this part doesn't even matter, but this song taught me what a killing jar was when I was like 14.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that project I had in biology? We had to do a project where we collected 50 or so insects and killed them
Nope.
and stabbed them on a piece of, foam and like labeled them.
Wow.
So I did kill some bugs in killing jars.
Wow. That's something. That is really
Did you not do that?
Nope.
It wasn't even like AP Bio. I think it's just regular bio.
Wow. Well, I mean, I took zoology in my senior year, and we had to
Zoology?
Yeah, we had to dissect a pig.
Oh, I dissected a squid, a frog.
Squid?
Yeah, the squid was kind of cool. There was a frog and a worm. There was a cat dissection, but that was for AP Bio, and so I didn't do that because I never took AP Bio.
No thanks. No thank you. Also, in the lyric booklet, for the chorus, it says, give up, get down, it's just the hardest part of living. But when you listen to it, it doesn't sound like he's saying that. I have in my notes, it doesn't sound like he's saying it to me anyway. Because to me, it just kind of sounds like, because he doesn't really articulate it, it just kind of sounds like, give up, get blah, 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 is the hardest part.
He does kind of slur the down into the it's, but I've always heard it as give up, get down, it's the hardest part of living.
It's because there's so many words in there, because he could give up, do, get down, the hardest part.
Yeah, the it's kind of gets lost sometimes.
Yeah, I never heard those two things separated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what, I just kind of sang whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I just mimicked the sounds that he was making. I don't know what he was saying.
Wait, hold on. I also have a misheard lyric. Slip into this tragedy, you've spun this chamber dry.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he doesn't articulate you've spun this chamber dry very well.
He does not.
And so I've always heard it as like, you'll spark this shame of dread or something.
Oh my gosh.
I know that doesn't make any sense, but that's what I've always heard. And only when I've been looking at it for this episode
oh
did
my
I realize
God,
it was
you
wrong.
just realized.
And I was like, that makes so much more sense.
Wow.
And I listened to live shows and I was like, I get it. I got it.
Yeah, right.
It's a gun, you're spinning it. Yes, I'm here for it.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that's my misheard lyric.
Well, I have another one. I used to hear you smoke this chamber dry, which I didn't understand that either, but I was like, if that's what he's saying, then that's what he's saying. Whatever you say, Gerard. But yeah, spun this chamber dry.
But we both heard like K sounds.
Yeah. I think it's because when he does spun, his U is so round that it sounds like an O to me.
Yeah, it is very tall.
Yeah, it's really round and tall, and his vowels are very strange.
They really are, but that's why I like it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
he sounds very unique.
His own style, and when you're doing a cover of an MCR song, you have to really try not to mimic those vowels, because otherwise...
Or lean into it.
You can. But if you want to do a cover and make it sound different, then you have to really, really try not to do those vowels.
Yeah. Shout out to the Ghost Killer Revenge cover album. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the Black Parade cover album that I think Kerrang did or somebody.
Yeah.
That one was fucking terrible. But the Ghost Killer one is better because they don't try to fuck with the songs as much for most of them.
Yeah.
They just kind of stay true to it, which kind of makes it, I guess, a little bit obsolete as a cover album, but more listenable. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Good on y'all.
Also, the funeral portrait one for Helena, they did it
they did it really different.
And I think it's super heavy on the vocal effects, which I think they could have done a little less with that. But overall, I really like the arrangement of it, because it's the it's the acoustic version.
Yeah, it's cool because on Kerrang, everyone fucked with it way too much because they were established bands, and so they were trying to do it in their style. And Ghost Killer bands are lower. I mean, they're not as popular bands. So
yeah, they're a little bit smaller.
Yeah, so they're not trying to mess with it as much. And I think TFP did a good take on it.
Yeah.
I do wish there was fewer, less vocal effects, but that's just my taste. Mm-hmm. But it was a good attempt at making the song their own and doing it pretty well.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to interlude?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Interlude. Also known as If we're not careful, we'll turn into Catholics.
Also on the slip in the album thing that I have, Alcoholics is crossed out, and then they wrote in Catholics.
Incredible. What a hot take. In
They're like,
2004.
he's like, nah, Alcoholics is too obvious. We're gonna put in Catholics, cause like, you know.
Yeah. I think of this song like I think of Romance on Bullets, where it's just sort of an atmospheric track. It's really difficult when you're just listening to the album to figure out what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah.
But I found the lyrics and I will now recite them.
Are they official lyrics?
I mean, I listened to it and I was like, this tracks.
I mean,
let me read them to you and you
okay.
can decide. Saints protect her now. Come angels of the Lord. Come angels of unknown. I think I can hear those first two lines for sure. The last line is the hardest line.
Yeah, because he slurs.
Yeah. Well, he was also like really quiet or something.
I've always thought that he just says the Lord twice, but I've also seen people say it's unknown.
I think listening to it again, I do think it is Come Angels of the Lord just twice.
Yeah. You know what fucking baffles me is that this is some people's favorite MCR song.
No, it's not.
I am so serious. Out of all the rest of MCR's, like, what is it, 75 songs?
Yeah.
This is their favorite.
Bullshit. You know what? I don't judge a lot of MCR fans. That's a lie. I judge several MCR fans.
Oh.
But I don't want to judge a lot of MCR fans. I want to be generous with them. But if Interlude is your favorite song, sit down.
I mean,
sit down.
They've stated that they like the simplicity of it, which I understand. They like the softness.
But
they like the
could
guitar
like Desert
line.
Song.
I mean, yes, but this is what they've chosen. This is the life that they have chosen.
Wow, I can't relate.
I mean, I'm not, whatever. Pick your favorite. I don't care.
Pick your favorite.
Don't care what your favorite is, but
really think about your choices.
Like the shortest song that they have ever done, what does it say about you?
Shit. I do like this song though as a break in the album, and that it's a little prayer.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. Because it also, still even as the short little snippet that it is, fits in with the storyline, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it's the male protagonist saying a prayer for his deceased female lover. And it goes with like the original title of like, if we're not careful, we'll turn to Catholics.
Yeah.
And I think that you can see a difference with the pre-interlude part of the album and the post-interlude part of the album.
Yeah.
Musically and thematically with the storyline, which is cool. Anything else on interlude?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Thank you for the Venom.
An anthem!
An anthem. And the transition from interlude to those like hard ass guitars blows your ears out in like the best fucking way. Yeah, I love that shit.
Shocks you, but you're really into it.
And like you're ready to go. Like from second one, ready to go.
Yep. Also, we forgot to mention last episode that Renat, an Israeli singer, and I'm not even sure if I'm saying her name right, but I'm gonna pronounce it as Renat, does backup vocals on Ghost of You. She's the really high, in the breakdown part. She also does backup vocals on this song.
I didn't know that.
And
I wonder what that is.
It's crazy that we don't know that because they literally put it right on the lyric sheet.
We just don't pay any fucking attention.
We don't pay any attention to it.
Fake fans.
Okay, so opening line.
Sister, I'm not much.
Is a reference to Morrissey's song Sister, I'm a Poet.
Gerard fucking loves Morrissey.
He loves Morrissey. I'm a little sad about it.
I mean, Morrissey wasn't known to be as much of an asshat as we know he is now.
Yeah.
He's really just digging his grave deeper every year. Every year he says some crazy ass shit.
Not doing well. I will be so upset if this happens for one of the boys.
No, it won't.
You never fucking know.
I know, you never know, but like we've had a good amount of time with them. They seem like they're always on the up and up. So sometimes I forget that this song is on Revenge. Sometimes if I'm not paying attention, I think of the song and be like, that's a great Bullets song. And it's not on Bullets.
Not at all. You can tell that this is a Revenge song.
I just like
the tightness of it.
I know, it's so much tighter than Bullets. It is just like heavy like Bullets.
Yeah.
And they also use the phrase, thank you for the venom in their Bullets days.
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know, but sometimes I feel like it could be an in-betweener song.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
it is hella tight.
they were obviously writing it and during the making of Bullets, or at least Gerard was thinking about that phrase in particular
Mm-hmm.
and wanted a song with that title. And I love the intros that he does to this song. Like
Yes.
in live performances, he'll just say whatever the fuck. Not like the Reading performance, the Reading and Leeds performance in 2006. He's like, thank you for the golf balls and the piss and the apples.
I'm so glad he talked about that because I was going to bring up Reading. Like, whenever I think of this song, I think about the Reading performance where they were getting bottled.
Yeah.
And then they use the song as, like, a taunt to the audience of, like,
Yeah.
fire at will, motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's a
Hit me with that piss.
It's a huge fuck you song.
I love that. I always think about that because it was, like, kind of in the middle of their set, I think. And they have just, like, fucking had it.
Yeah.
And Gerard was like, oh my god, you guys will not believe what song is coming up next. And he gets so excited that he can just be like, fuck you to everyone.
Yeah. Who do you think he is speaking to here? I think this is one of their first kind of fuck the industry songs, which is crazy because they weren't super big yet. You know, I mean, it's coming. Like, this is the biggest they've ever been. So obviously they don't know what's coming. They don't know any better. But it's interesting that they were already getting frustrated with how things were going and how Gerard was kind of positioned in the scene, in the music scene. The scene.
Dun dun dun.
So, and he talks about the music scene here. People wanted him to be kind of front and center, and they wanted him to be, you know, this icon and to lead the scene. And well, I mean, he had a hard time avoiding that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put in a quote from an interview that Gerard did with Gary Hampton in 2004. They're talking about Venom, and the line in particular, I wouldn't front the scene if you paid me. He said, that line was kind of a direct commentary on the climate of music right now and how we aren't a part of that scene. I don't want this band to be like the poster child for that scene, and I wouldn't front it. I don't want it. You know, I think the scene is great for what it is, but I think it's being exploited. It's way past exploited. It's probably into its stages of death pretty soon. If these bands don't evolve soon, they're all just going to fade away. That's the problem with scene stuff. It's not like grunge. Nothing is going to be like that, I don't think. Not for a long time. I mean, this is just like another fad, you know?
I get that. I think that was really astute. 2003 to 2008 was a great time for alt-rock.
Mm-hmm.
And for alt-rock bands that, like, weren't very good or weren't very great. But it was just, like, what was on the radio, and so they became popular. And so that was definitely, like, a heyday for that, you know, a very general scene of music. And it did fizzle out. And you do forget about those bands because they weren't innovative or good. They were just on a wave.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bands that you can think of just off the top of your head if you give it a minute.
I don't want to name them because I feel so bad.
No, I'm not going to name any of them, but they're just very aggro. They have a very gritty kind of sound to them, and
there's a lot of maleness.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, testosterone in this scene, and, you know, we all know that MCR is not invested in that. They're like, you know, if you're aggressive, that's cool for you, but I don't want it.
Yeah, I think he was pretty clear-eyed about that. And I think that I do think that he managed to mostly not front it. I mean,
for a little while.
I think people perceived him as fronting it after Parade, but I think with Danger Days and with the break after Parade, managed to avoid being the active poster child, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Should we talk about more lyrics or talk about other parts of the music?
Let's stay on lyrics for a second, and then we can go on to
I have a
guitars.
theory.
Yes, give it to me.
I think this song is about emo Jesus.
Emo Jesus.
But seriously, okay, so this song has a lot of religious imagery.
Yes.
And I think it points to sort of a Messiah type of character, which I'll talk about why I think it talks about a Messiah type of character, and then I'll get to why or how that character is used or why it's significant. So, first line. Sister, I'm not much a poet but a criminal. Guess who is a criminal? Jesus.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
You'll never make me leave. Jesus does not leave. He was resurrected. But they certainly tried. And then he's got the chorus line. Really the whole chorus, but here's like the main line. Give me all your hopeless hearts and make me ill, where Jesus was supposed to be the figure that you put all your sins on. Then he was like the sacrifice to save everyone.
Yeah.
You know, you're running after something that you'll never kill. If this is what you want, then fire at will. And that the Romans are very foolish to like try and persecute Jesus because 1, he ain't gonna die. 2, Christians continue anyway. And also, like, the willingness to die and fire at will to be like a sacrifice, to be a martyr. You want to follow something, give me a better cause to lead. Putting the character of this song in a leadership position to lead a cause. I feel like this is sort of a renegade messiah. You know, like the kind of messiah that keeps a gun in the book you gave me and says things like, hallelujah, lock and load. I feel like the main character of this song feels like sort of a messiah or the leader of a cause, but is disillusioned with the cause, but even more disillusioned with the people who are trying to get him to give up the cause. So sort of like a punk, renegade, gun-toting, Jesus-y kind of dude.
That is definitely an interesting take. I have a similar take, but the take that what I got from it is that it's a little more sarcastic and it's a little more annoyed.
I can see that.
Like the chorus, for instance, I feel that that's kind of an invitation, like a mocking invitation to kind of take on everyone's burdens and like, yeah, okay, give me your bullshit, I'll be a fucking martyr, whatever, it's fine, I'll do it, I guess, because nobody else is good enough to do it, so I'll do it. You know, you want to follow something, so give me a better cause to lead. I feel that is more frustrated than anything else, that he's frustrated with the scene and he's frustrated with the people in it, where he's like, okay, none of you guys are living up to my standards, so get to it. Like, give me something that I can believe in. If you want me to be the leader of this scene, then fucking give me something to lead. Because there's nothing. You guys are nothing.
Fuck you.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't want your trash.
I can see that. I think that kind of concept goes with Gerard's idea of being interested in the concept of outcasts. Because Jesus and other people like Jesus are supposed to be the ultimate outcasts. And with the storyline of the Demolition Lovers, I feel like this could be a song where you take it as the protagonist getting really burnt out on the quest for 1,000 evil men and becoming sort of disillusioned with it and doesn't know like what he's fighting for and if it's worth it, and essentially it's going downhill. Things aren't going well, and the main character of this song is upset about it and upset with the people who made him do it, but maybe still feels an obligation to keep going, but wishes that something could be different.
Yeah, I feel that. Oh, I wanted to mention, not that it's like an important part to the song as a whole, but the mention that he talks about of, I'm just the way that the doctors made me. I think that kind of alludes to how he felt about medication at the time and about how he felt about antidepressants and stuff for anxiety, because he did go through a very small patch where he was like, no, I don't want this, and this is not good for me. Like, it works for other people, but it's not good for me. He has since evolved into knowing that the medication is just to balance out your chemicals, and it's not any different than taking like heart medication or medication for high cholesterol or whatever. But I think during this time he was kind of like, he had trouble handling the notion that antidepressants actually do help you, and it's not a fake happiness, it's real, it's how you're supposed to be.
I think it's an interesting line. Never thought about that line a lot.
I think about every line, Kat.
Jesus Christ. As far as the music, again, what a fantastic intro. Goes so fucking hard. It's like one of those songs where I hear it and I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to ultimateguitar.com and get the tabs for this and learn it. And like a lot of the song is very heavy sounding, and the verses has like that kind of chugging guitar in the background. And then in the choruses, it does this sort of signature MCR thing where it becomes a lot bigger, and they do something with maybe, I don't know, the key that the guitars are in, or like the guitars are higher on the fretboard and he's singing higher notes, and it sort of makes it sound more quote unquote inspirational or like hopeful. Just sort of like the feeling of the music gets a lot bigger and brighter and more anthemic, I guess. They do that on quite a few songs. It's like one of their things, and I don't know how to talk about that in music theory speak, but I notice it.
I think during this song, they, in the verses at least, it's a little darker toned, or a little, I don't want to say minor versus major, but it kind of is. It's the darker chords are in the verses, and then when you hit the chorus, it's more major, it's more bright. You know, like you were saying.
Yeah. And like, just think about like how he sounds like.
So give me all your poison, and give me all your pills, and give me all your hopeless hearts and nails.
it's just like the way that progresses is it's one of those sounds that makes you want to sing along.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good at melodies here. Also, can we just humor me? Can we insert a clip of Gerard and Ray harmonizing this part?
I
Because
love when they harmonize on this one. It's so good. Yes, we'll absolutely include
okay,
that.
thank you.
So give me all your poison, and give me all your pills, and give me all your hopeless hearts and make me ill. You're running after something that you'll never kill. If this is what you want, then fire at will.
That's one of my favorite things when they're practicing.
Yes. And Gerard's like just casually wiping blood off of his
And they
face.
sound so good.
Yeah.
They sound incredible together.
I love them. I love them so much.
You don't get that a lot sometimes in live performances because, again, they're both working on other things.
Yeah.
But when they're like calm and like standing still, they sound fantastic together.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't expect Ray to have such a high pitched voice from such a tall man, but he does, and I love it.
Yeah.
His solo in the song. Sorry, you continue.
Oh no, I was just gonna say even his speaking voice is all the way up there.
It is. And he has a solo in this song that is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes on for longer than you think it will and like builds as it goes. And at first you're like, this is lasting a little while, and then it starts building, you're like, fuck it, no, I'm on board. I'm here for it. And also when they do this live, sometimes Gerard will like scat a little bit over this part, which I think is very funny. He'd be like, check it out now. Or something, you know that part? It's very funny to me.
Uh-huh.
It's my favorite live part when they do it. And this should have been a fucking single.
Yes.
Warner Brothers.
I agree.
What's going on?
I don't know, maybe they thought it was too Metallica.
I mean, it is like heavy, but I mean, I get why the other ones are singles, but this one is so good. And it's one of the signature MCR songs, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had to like hand someone 10 songs, this would be one of the 10 songs you hand them to tell them who the band is.
For sure.
And whenever there's like brackets or whatever, people pick their favorite songs, this is always very high on the list.
Yeah.
It's like just one of the songs that unites us.
Yeah. Unites our cause.
Hang 'em high.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
Starts with a spaghetti western whistle, which is wild. And the title references a Clint Eastwood movie, which is also called Hang 'em High.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, there's your western stuff. I sometimes would skip this song because the whistle just annoys me.
It's over in like 2 seconds.
I know. I'd sit through it now, but I don't know why the whistle annoyed me. It just did. But the scream in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's a very raw scream.
Yeah, it's
and
unleashed.
It, rips the fuck through you. The most notable thing about the song, I guess, is that Keith Morris from Black Flag does guest vocals on it.
Mm-hmm.
Vocals in quotes, because apparently he's doing a subliminal story in the background.
Yeah, you can hear him talking during the bridge. You can hear him talking, but I cannot decipher what he is saying.
Never at all. No matter how high I turn it up, I can't tell. And I try to find on the internet if anyone had done like that magical thing sometimes people do.
Yeah, where they
can
strip down the vocals.
But I couldn't find anything about it. Nobody knows what it fucking is except for Keith Morris and Gerard, and they've probably fucking forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very frustrating for me.
I understand. I'm in the same boat.
But on Keith Morris. So Keith Morris is from Black Flag and several other bands. And the way he got on this song was that Frank ran into him by chance in a convenience store.
Can you imagine?
And he's a very like distinctive looking dude.
Yeah.
So I get it. But like, so Frank ran into him at a convenience store and cornered him and convinced him to come into the studio, and they ate Chinese food and swapped stories, and somehow Frank convinced him to get on the song. And it's so touching to me because Frank did an interview about it where he said that story,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks so blown away by it that it ever happened. And he mentions it being like one of the highlights of his career, and that's so touching to me.
Yeah.
Because this motherfucker's got a Black Flag tattoo. Like, it's one of their biggest influences, and I'm just so touched that they were able to get someone like that on the record. Just very heartwarming.
You know, he's very lucky that Keith Morris is a nice person, because I don't feel that would have gone over very well with anyone else. Can you imagine? Okay, picture this. We're in New Jersey.
Casually. Where
in
we
New
often
Jersey,
are.
Where we often are. We're going to, let's say, a Walmart. Or let's say a CVS.
A
Whatever
Target.
the fuck.
I've seen him in a Target.
Yes, Target is a very likely place. We run into Frank. We say, hey, we have a podcast. You should be on it. And we
That's
will not
different,
let him
though.
go.
I feel like he'd be more generous if we were artists and we were like, we have a song we want you to guest on. I think he might be receptive to that.
I don't know, man.
Maybe not if we corner him.
This is what I'm just saying. This is what he said that he has done.
Yeah.
I'm using his own actions against him. Say that we did the
think-
exact same thing. I don't feel that it would go well at all.
It would definitely depend on how he approached it.
Mm.
I think he could be receptive to it because he's guested on a lot of songs before.
Yeah.
So he might be into doing something like that. He'd be more into doing it if we were a Jersey band, let's be honest. If we were a Jersey band, this wouldn't be a problem at all.
All right, listen, let's lie.
Okay.
We'll say that we already live in New Jersey. We've lived in New Jersey our whole lives.
Our whole lives.
I love New Jersey.
There's also, before the bridge, there is a scream that's kind of quieter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's Gerard or Keith, but I really enjoy it. Throwing that out there.
Well, I know that he does the story part, and he does the scream at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The wah, that
Yeah.
scream.
Well, I think that scream is similar to the scream before the bridge, so maybe
Mhm.
that is Keith.
Yeah, might be. I'm not sure. There's no way to tell. At
That's very
Gerard.
good. At Gerard. What the fuck did Keith say? Lyrically, I find this to be kind of a more abstract song that
Yes.
has it's a little bit difficult to see like a clear plot to the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it generally gives you the vibe of being on the run, killing people with guns.
Mm-hmm.
And there is also the line, "Would I die for you? Well, here's your answer in spades,"
Mm-hmm.
which sort of gives you the impression that the protagonist is heading into like a big fight that might kill him, which he would have to be alive for. Just pointing it out. And that and that he's kind of like freaking out about it and maybe like reflecting on his journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most I can pull from these lyrics.
Yeah, there's a lot of imagery in this song.
A lot of religious imagery.
Yeah, Black Mariah is probably one of my favorite imagery kind of pieces.
And he delivers that one so well.
Yeah. It's about, I mean, it's right after a fucking lyric about angels cutting out her tongue. Call her Black Mariah, would I lie to you? Like, so Black Mariah is basically like a Western hearse kind of thing. It's like an old Western hearse.
Mm-hmm.
There's another thing that it is that's like a van that you catch criminals in or something.
A paddy wagon.
But I'm more inclined to believe that he's referencing the Western hearse because of the Western theme of
He
the
does
song.
enjoy a good hearse.
Yeah,
So.
he sure does. Now, who is she, do you think, in this song? It's often a negative force in Gerard's life that he references as a she, but I don't know who the she is here.
I think it's the only time that she comes up is with her tongue. Her
No,
Black Mariah.
she
No,
won't
the
stop me,
girls
put it
aren't
down.
right.
She
Oh,
won't
yeah,
stop
yeah,
me,
you're
put
right,
it
you're
down.
right. Honestly, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I think if we're taking she to be the dark force, as in Jet Set Life,
Mm-hmm.
like where it could be like death or Satan or just like some sort of dark entity,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that could apply here. Or it could be the lover of like, maybe the bridge, she won't stop me, put it down, is the lover trying to say like, put it down, and the protagonist being like, no, I gotta do this. Like,
Mhm.
she's not gonna stop me. So maybe it's like conflicting feelings like that.
Mm-hmm.
The angels just cut out her tongue, if we're taking it super literally,
Mm-hmm.
could be that the dead lover is not allowed to speak or something. I don't know. Who has nothing to say?
Who is it, Gerard? I have so many questions. Gosh, when we go to the Q&A at North Carolina Comic Con, I have so many questions for him, but I'm sure that we'll only get to ask one.
Yeah.
Which one should I pick? I'm so conflicted. I'm having such a
Jesus
hard
Christ.
time. I want to ask him so many questions.
Well, here's the thing. Let's let this not be one. Because let's look at this verse.
Okay.
After all is said and done, climb up from the pine box while I'm asking you, because she's got nothing to say. I think this could be, after all is said and done, the lover who's dead climbs up from the pine box, becomes alive again.
Mm.
And he's asking his lover, something because she, as in Satan or, whatever dark force, has nothing to say. So I feel like maybe there's two females in this song, which is why it's kind of confusing. But if you held a gun to my head and asked me what I think the verse is, I think there's two women involved, and he's trying to get the truth from his lover, but she can't communicate with him, and he has the female devil in his ears giving him false information or things that just don't sound right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's my interpretation.
That's viable, I think. I mean, I don't have any other interpretation, so that's what I'm going to take as truth.
Yeah.
Also, first, there's guitar fancies.
Jesus.
I'm going to let you listen to them.
And then the second verse, take the second verse completely different, as usual.
Oh my gosh, the high part, the bump, bump, the offbeat of, oh my gosh.
Is that like a pre-pro video or something?
Yeah, no, this is the Bulletproof Heart guitar lesson that Frank and Ray do, where they're talking about how things build and how
Yes.
things are layered and how they're how they have moved on from trying to fit things in, so many things into one bar as they did with
Damn, I love that time though.
Hang 'em High.
So good.
Oh God, man.
Love it.
And they're talking about how the guitars vary so much, especially in Revenge, from the first verse to the second verse. The second verse is wildly different guitar-wise than the first verse. But the offbeat that they do there is probably one of my favorite guitar things in this song.
I love it whenever they do an offbeat. It's just very like primally amazing.
Yep.
It gets me
Makes
going.
you want to bop.
Yes. Makes you want to like run and like destroy things.
Yeah.
There's also at the end of it a lot of layered vocals. It builds. There's a few layers, and suddenly there's a fuck ton of layers.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's like a car crash.
Yes, it is like a car crash, but it's a car crash I want to be in. It's so good. What's the Thursday song?
Uh-oh.
Understanding in a Crash or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have other guitar things?
Crash. No, the guitars are just as good. That's all I have to say about it.
That's it. I like them. We're not going to become one of those podcasts, Kat. I like this part.
I really like
This is cool.
the bend that he does. You heard it there.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good ass bend.
Yep.
I've gotten that. Are we finished with Hang 'em High?
I think so.
That means we're kind of finished with this episode.
Oh my gosh.
Except if we want to add fan anecdotes in.
Yes, we do want to.
We promised that we would.
We did promise that.
We have to pull them up. All right, so we do have some fan anecdotes to share, and we're gonna try. We have so much, guys. Thank you for sending them in. We have so many, and
we want more.
We're gonna see how many we can get through. This is from Body Snatchers on Instagram. I started listening to MCR in 2014. A friend of mine had this falling in reverse picture as their profile pic, so I decided to hit them up and ask them about the band. After a few listens, Famous Last Words popped up in my recommended. Sidebar, this is a very common way to discover MCR from these fan anecdotes. We should have done research on this and made a statistics chart or something. After a few listens, Famous Last Words popped up in my recommended. I thought the thumbnail looked great, so I gave it a listen. Needless to say, I loved it and quickly fell in love with MCR's music. I went through a lot of bullying and struggled with eating disorders, my gender identity, and some other mental health related stuff. MCR always gave me a feeling of being less alone and that I'm actually not that messed up and should never change for anyone. I also met one of my best friends due to their music. They changed my life to the better, and I'm super thankful for it. Even though the following part may sound extremely cringy and stereotypical, but I think I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for MCR. They very much helped and inspired me to get better. I apologize for any mistakes because English isn't my mother tongue, but it was great. There were no mistakes.
It's fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Next one?
Yeah. The next one is super, super short, but I think it's really funny. This is from Panda Farms on Twitter. They said, I was obsessed with Sims 2 music videos, and there was a Helena music video that went so hard I had my sister drive me to Target to get the 3 Cheers album.
I think I've seen that video, and it does go hard.
Yes, I remember that video.
Yeah. This one is from Pandalism89 on Twitter. When I was in 10th grade, I used to go to my best friend's house every day after school, and one day she said she'd recorded something on a VHS for me that I saw on MTV that she thought I'd like. I love that.
I love it. It's aesthetic.
We've been hearing from a lot of youngins, and I love the youngins, but I also love VHS tapes.
Yep.
It was the I'm Not Okay music video. Is it the school music video or is it the old school Jordan and Band music video? Panelism, please clarify. I don't know how many times I watched it, but it was many. As soon as I had some money, I bought the 3 Cheers album, and shortly after realized Bullets existed and bought that too. MCR is still my favorite band all these years later.
Wow.
It's very similar to Cassie's story.
Yeah.
You're in good company.
Our next story is from Blood Infection on Twitter. And they said, it all started in 7th grade in 2015.
Oh, God.
I had a huge group of friends that I hung out with during PE, and one day everyone just started literally screaming the words to Welcome to the Black Parade, and now that I think about it, it was really embarrassing, but it was how I got introduced to them. The second song I had heard was Mama, but it wasn't until the next year in 8th grade, the start of my emo phase, that I finally got hooked and was obsessed with them. I listened to them as much as I could, still do, watched every video, and listened to their solo albums. It was great. To this day, they are my favorite band. They've introduced me to other bands like the Smashing Pumpkins, Black Flag, The Used, The Misfits. No other band has really impacted me like they have. Also, I'm really excited about Frank's new music. Me
Same.
too. I love the story about 7th grade because it's a very 7th grade story.
Yeah, it is.
It's very much
of,
like
people screaming out the lyrics to a song at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's like an edgy song, like
yeah,
Welcome to the Black Parade.
it's like you look back on it and you're like, oh man.
Yeah. And it was only 3 years ago, but
Oh
for this
my
person.
gosh. Yeah, for this person, it's 3 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, middle school.
What a time.
All right, this next one is from NatBat on Twitter. Riding in the car and heard I'm Not Okay on the radio when I was 14, been down the rabbit hole ever since, was referred to as Girl Gerard for most of my life since then, and I'm okay with this. That's absolutely iconic. Being referred to as Girl Gerard is probably the best thing anyone could ever say to you.
Yep, what a compliment. We didn't put this out here to the public, but Todd sent us a voicemail of his fan anecdote, so we're going to play that for you. So here's Todd. I love Todd. I love Todd.
I don't know if I've heard it yet, so I'll be excited.
Okay.
Hello, My Chemical Fancast. I just wanted to call and give you my story about My Chemical Romance. I am probably not your typical MCR fan. I'm a 47-year-old husband, father of 3, and actually was turned on to the band by my son back in 2015. He told me to listen to this song called The Black Parade by a band called My Chemical Romance, and I said, I'm not really into emo punk pop bands, and he said, no, take a listen. They're much more than that. So I gave the song a listen, and I'm an 80s hair metal type of guy, so I like theatrical rock, and once I heard the song and saw the video, the second thought I had was, okay, do they have any other songs that are good? So I began to search their videos on YouTube and began to listen to their music, and I immediately had a new favorite band. Their music to me is very artistic. I love the songwriting. My favorite song is probably Famous Last Words, and just because it does give people hope when you hear a line that says, I'm not afraid to keep on living. I'm not afraid to walk this world alone. I'm not one that would say MCR saved me, because I am a believer in God, in Jesus Christ, and I believe that Jesus saved me and can save anybody. And the music that they put out is so great. I just love everything that they do. And it's opened some new doors for me, because it got me back into a love of comic books and art, because of Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol, which I have been collecting. And I also got into Gerard's solo stuff as well as Mikey's band Electric Century, and I really like Ray's solo album and Frank's stuff that he puts out. So I really enjoy the podcast. It's like listening to a few friends talk about music, and the way that you guys dig deep into the songs, it really is cool, and I get to listen to it on the way home from work, which is pretty awesome. So I do love My Chemical Romance. I do hope they get back together one day. And I just wish you guys continued success with the podcast and your logo is really cool with the coffin and the 5 bats on there. That's pretty awesome. So keep up the good work, and thank you guys. God bless you, and looking forward to more podcasts. Peace.
Thank you so much, Todd.
I'm so touched right now. I really like that, even though you think you're not a typical MCR fan, Todd, I really enjoy that there's some older people that are into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also really appreciate, like, the through line you drew from 80s hair metal to MCR, because
Yeah.
they definitely did draw on a lot of metal, musically and also for, like, their theatrical inspirations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really sweet. I love it.
It's so sweet. And also our logo, I think we've mentioned it before, but it's by a guy named Matthew Therian, and it is pretty badass.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I'm
Okay.
so touched.
Yes, I know.
So touched.
We'll put the number out to you guys if you want to leave us a voicemail, or if you just want to leave us words of encouragement, or if you want to, I don't know, just whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can leave us a voicemail if you would like. So we'll put that number out there later.
Thank you, Todd, for sending in your voice message.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic.
And we will end on that note.
Yes. So we're gonna be at, well, this is after the Comic-Con, so it doesn't fucking matter. But
Yeah.
we will have had a great time
Yes,
at North Carolina
and-
Comic-Con.
Hello again to all the friends that we saw. Hello,
Yes.
hello, thank you, hello.
Hopefully things went well and you don't hate us. That's all we can hope for. Imagine if something crashes and burns and we release
Oh, no.
this
Don't
as,
say
like,
that.
things are burning.
Don't say that. In the meantime,
Follow us on social media, Twitter at Chemical Fancast, Instagram at Chemical Fancast, Facebook, My Chemical Fancast. If you want to send us a fan anecdote or piece of information, or if you want to say hey, you can email us at mychemicalfancast@gmail.com.
if you would like to leave us a voicemail, if you want to do that with your fan anecdote, you are more than welcome to. The number for that is 762-441-1229. And we'll put that up on the social medias later, so you don't have to be like, oh, I got to write it down. No, it'll be there if you follow us.
I think that's a wrap for this episode.
So for now, I'm Haley,
And I'm Kat.
and this is My Chemical Fancast.
We'll see you guys next episode.
Peace out.